Ah, who can forget 2017? Zelda reinvented itself by returning to its roots. Mario was cavorting with realistic humans, and the collective inhabitants of the world were diagnosed with a case of Sonic Mania. Now, I'm not the biggest Sonic fan out there, but I did have a very intense love of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on the GameCube. That game was actually too cool for me. However, my history with the classic 2D games is pretty limited, and I've only ever actually completed them once on the 3DS versions. But man, when that Sonic Mania trailer dropped, oh boy, I was not ready. Hearing the game was led by fans was actually reassuring after Sonic's consistently inconsistent quality. I mean, just look at this popcorn machine. And the game turned out great. Tons of zones, multiple characters, beautiful artwork, and a soundtrack for the ages. Honestly, just the title screen alone, Sonic's animated reveal, it shows the metric tons of passion that were poured into this game. But as a relative Sonic novice at the time, I was perfectly happy to give the game a single playthrough, let it wash over me, and then just move on. If I'm being honest, I never really understood the classic Sonic formula, but I recently came back to the game, and a subsequent 15 hours later, across multiple playthroughs, I can finally say I've fully given in to the mania. I get it now. A game that just impressed me before is probably now among my all-time favorite 2D platformers. The single thing about the game that I can't stop thinking about, besides the soundtrack of course, that's on permanent loop, is the drop dash. It's a relatively simple move. You just hold the action button after jumping and Sonic will charge a medium boost for when you land back on the ground. It has some minor visual and audio cues that accompany it. They're small touches, but work well for something you'll be using so often. But why is a basic mid-air boost so revelatory? Well, first let's look at Sonic's basic controls. And they are basic. The classic games, as far as I'm aware, are controlled with a single button. You use the D-pad to move and the button to action. The drop dash works with this setup since it's executed contextually while Sonic is mid-jump. This single button control can obviously limit a game, but it frees Sonic up to focus on other aspects such as managing momentum. Also, given that 2D games generally have a wider audience than their 3D counterparts, it's advantageous to keep the controls simple. That does make me curious about single button action in a 3D game. I might have to look into that. So, the drop dash fits in nicely with how a Sonic game is played, but it also complements the rest of his moveset. You have a jump and spin attack, which basically do what they say on the tin, but you also have the spin dash and drop dash in Sonic Mania, and while two different dashes might seem redundant, with such a large focus on controlling Sonic's momentum, anything that allows the player to directly influence it is inherently interesting. So what's different about them? Well, the spin dash requires you to come to a complete stop before you can start charging it. This makes it a move often used as a last resort if you fail to get up a slope or loop, or just when you want to get started moving again after colliding with an obstacle. You do get the fastest boost out of a spin dash for sure, but it ultimately requires you to have already broken your momentum. Since Sonic is so focused on maintaining momentum, it's nice to have an easy way to regain it, but ultimately it doesn't help you keep it. That's where the drop dash comes in. On the other hand, it results in less of a boost, but it does allow you to maintain that momentum. Since it's tied to a jump, if Sonic can jump, he can drop dash. And being able to jump mid-run means you can execute a drop dash mid-run. It's great for increasing your current momentum, so it's worth a shot if you're struggling up a slope or loop. Simply put, it increases the pace of the game, which in turn makes it feel much smoother to play. Plus, both moves put Sonic in his spin attack form, so they're relatively safe and you can even use them for offense. Once you've gotten a handle on when to use both dashes, the game really opens up and starts to feel way more engaging. Plus, the payoff for using them correctly is Sonic being fast and cool. And fast and cool is really what Sonic's character is all about. Big props to Sonic Mania for some of the smaller character touches the developers put in. You have the usual shocked expression when taking damage, and I love how stern he looks when swinging, though I really wish he held the pose after jumping off like he does in Sonic 2. But then there's stuff like the opening to Chemical Plant Zone where Sonic shakes himself dry after being dripped on. It's super cute, reminds me of my cat, and I just love everything about it. Alright, back to gushing about the drop dash. So it justifies itself compared to the spin dash, but also plays well with the style of level design found in the classic games. These are wide levels with multiple paths that you'll start to learn through different playthroughs. Once you have a basic feel for the flow of a level, you can start employing dashes more effectively, which just feels good. That said, the drop dash never makes the game feel too boost heavy, since jumping is dangerous as you can still be harmed by some enemies, so you can't just spam the move over and over. If anything, the fact the move was retrofitted into newer versions of Sonic 1 and 2 probably says all it needs to about how well it fits with the classic Sonic gameplay. I'll tell you what, going back and playing Sonic 1 without either the spin or drop dash is a trip. You can still tell the games were designed without them in mind, but their inclusion was really preferred. There are just a lot more sudden obstacles, so being able to regain lost momentum helps a ton. It just ends up feeling smoother to play. It's actually kind of interesting to hear the drop dash was designed with new players in mind, according to the developers. I probably used it only on accident during my initial playthrough. Honestly, it wasn't until my second or third time through that I actually knew how to execute it. Like, it's probably good it's not required by any means, but I think it probably ends up leaning more towards benefiting expert players. Though I suppose if you're new and just want to use it to push yourself up a slope, it'll still feel like a nice option. In general, I've come to realize Sonic games are unique for 2D platformers. As much as I love Super Mario World or the Donkey Kong Returns series, I only really play a level once and then move on. I've never really done subsequent playthroughs in such a short period like I have with Sonic Mania. It's made me realize the whole point of the series is to actually get good at it. It's kind of like an arcade shooting game that balances knowledge and the ability to perform. The payoff of looking cool, getting good times, and just generally feeling like an expert is huge in a Sonic game. And I never realized it. And I actually used the time attack mode in Sonic Mania. Side note, I really wish there were dev times in time attack to aim for. Like, I enjoy the open-ended jockeying for leaderboard positions, but it would just be nice to have a time to shoot for. So, Sonic Mania is pretty good. I like it, if you can't tell. The drop dash is super fun, a great addition to the classic formula, and also maybe one of the cleanest additions to a character in general. Like, if it's not in future games, even as an option, I'll be a little disappointed. The fact that it was backported to older games still kind of blows my mind. So, to the devs of Sonic Mania, good job. You made one of the best 2D platformers ever? It certainly reignited my passion for the series, so going forward, count me in as part of the mania.